And good evening. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. Welcome to the Critical Blast Cavern, where we are going to sit down with yet another uh, comics funder and the project they have underway. Before we get into that, we will take care of the shilling so that we don't interrupt the stream with unnecessary sidetracks. First of all, we are within a dozen subscribers of breaking that magical 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm not quite sure what happens. I think YouTube sends me a unicorn, and I'd like to see that. It'd be fun. So to induce you to subscribe, we have got these nice little holofoil Critical Blast stickers. If you subscribe, take a screenshot of your subscription, DM it to us at Critical Blast on Twitter. I know that's a lot of steps. It's a lot of work we're asking of you, but trust me, you want one of these, right? Let's see if I can do magic. Yeah, take that, and now it's gone. It's right behind me. DM me at Twitter at Critical Blast, and just let us know where to send it. We'll throw it in an envelope, send it your way gratis, just as a thank you for subscribing to the channel. Also, if you would like to help the channel out, if you like this kind of content, easiest way to do it is to visit criticalblast.com, check out some of the interviews and reviews that we run there, movies, comics, science fiction, and giveaways. And tomorrow you'll find that we're going to be running a giveaway on this Pretty in Pink Blu-ray that just arrived today. And if you are a merchandise kind of person, well, Critical Blast is also a publishing arm. We publish books. Our next anthology, The Devil You Know, you've been seeing it on Twitter. And that will be going on pre-sale July 15th. Right now, our most recent book is this hardcover young adult superhero novel by Stephen J. Mitchell called Bulletproof. It features 16-year-old Cody Haywood, who wakes up one morning to find out that he is indeed bulletproof and decides to go on a superhero career. Unfortunately for Cody, he has the attention span of a ferret on pixie sticks and requires his friends to keep his attention on his job so that he can stay alive. All right, with that out of the way, it gives me great pleasure to introduce tonight's guest. You've seen her YouTube channel, Dannphan, and we have her here to talk about her book, Orgasm Girl. Okay, I got it out of my mouth. Welcome, Trisha.
Hey, how you doing?
So, this is the second attempt to get Orgasm Girl going on Indiegogo, and it looks like it's going to be a success this time.
Yeah, I think so.
The last check I saw, I'm sharing in the project already. I take ownership of my guests. You were about $120 away from hitting that 100% mark. So there's a $40 pinup tier, guys. Just hit it. 3 of you guys hit it. This show's over. On it. No, we'll keep talking. But seriously, 3 of you guys take that $40 tier, and Orgasm Girl becomes a reality. And who doesn't want that? But I have questions. I have so many questions. First of all, why don't you tell us who the character is and what she can do?
Well, her name is Amari, and she has the unique power of being able to make any man she touches orgasm with the snap of her fingers.
So is that an order of events? Touch, snap?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so it's not touching your orgasm or snapping your orgasm. It's Wonder Twin powers activate. You got to do both things in order. Do we get an explanation as to why this happens?
No, I think it's funnier if it's just random.
It's her mutant power. She's the rogue everybody wants to meet. Okay. Does it say? Do you get into why it's only men? I mean, the women reputedly enjoy these things too. So I've heard.
Ah, yes, women, her only weakness. Besides guns, okay. I guess.
So if she runs into a lesbian superhero, or supervillain rather, just no joy. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, God forbid she actually has to fight. Oh no!
Well, that would suck. I mean, can you imagine 2 superheroes getting together and like, oh, holy crap, you just canceled out my powers. How do I throw a punch again? But your character doesn't have that problem because she is a
boxer.
So she knows her way around a fight.
Yeah.
All right. So I gotta ask, of course, when you comic and really strong fly guy, uh, and how did you land on this power?
Well, mostly it was just me thinking of powers that would be stupid and not very useful in most situations, but oddly useful in a fighting situation. And somehow I ended up on orgasm power, and I just thought it was funny, so I stuck to it. Originally, it was going to be a web comic, and then someone convinced me to do a campaign for it.
Put it in print, absolutely. Does she call herself that?
No, the idea is that someone else puts the name on her.
Oh, okay, but still, she's known by that name.
Right, right.
Okay, so it's because even if she did keep her power secret, guys in prison talk. Said, "Oh, you got hit by her too. Hey, did you, something, something?" Yeah. So it would get out. And then, of course, they find out where her patrol is. They wait till they see her fly over. They crash windows. Look, I'm robbing jewelry. Come stop me.
Oh boy, I hope orgasm
jokes
rolls
are going to
around the
keep coming
corner.
like that because it's just, you're right. It is a silly kind of power that leads silly kind of men to ask those silly kind of questions and think of those situations.
Right, right.
Which is, I'm hoping, was the goal. So I'm not totally taking this totally off track.
No, totally.
So you said women are her weakness. Is that really her weakness, or is there more of a kryptonite factor involved?
Well, for the most part, in this first issue, like the main villain, the like leader that she's going to be taken down is a woman, and so she can't really use her power against her, and she's not really sure how to deal with it. So it's like a conflict of her abilities.
Okay, so it's not a mental thing that she's doing. It's probably something that enacts itself specifically on the male hormones, because she's got the skin contact, and then she can activate it. Now, I'm going to assume that it's not like a data bank where she's like, I've touched that guy before 3 weeks ago. Watch. Or like, whoever the last one was, and a range factor, it's like, he should be flying that plane right about now. Let's crash it. Something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be super powerful.
The idea is just, you try to put restrictions on them to make things, believe it or not, more realistic and believable. So is that kind of how it is? It's like, it's you right now. It's you. I'm touching and done. But if I touch you and does a time period pass? Am I getting too technical?
No. Sometimes it helps to be technical because then you can also put restrictions on the story itself so that people don't ask, oh, well, why did she just do this? Or why can't she just do that? So I think restrictions typically help for superhero stuff, even when it's as silly as this. I think for the touch thing, I did it as a time limit type thing. So after she's touched you, she has a certain amount of time to snap.
Okay, and that makes perfectly good sense because if it is a hormone thing and she's got your DNA on her, well, it's going to die off over a period of time here, and it will become inactive.
Right.
So that makes perfect sense. Now the villain, I see sketch art possibilities for this other character called the Mistress.
Right. Yeah.
Is she the villain?
Yep, she's the main villain.
With a title like that, I have a feeling she's utilizing the same power set.
Yeah.
So I mentioned in the green room that coming onto this specific show, I'm getting notifications that my friends and neighbors are finally subscribing to my YouTube channel, and this is the show they're getting. And you mentioned that you're having pretty much the same situation with friends and family, sharing it all out there. How did you even broach the topic of, hey, I'm making a comic and this is what it's called?
Yeah, my mom asked me about it first, and I told her because mother-daughter relationships, you assume that there's some kind of sacredness with that. But no, she just shared it on Facebook to everyone. She's like, "Well, I gotta promote you. I gotta help." No,
Thanks,
no,
Mom.
mm,
It's good that she is. It's good, but it is. I can tell. It would be awkward if I were doing it and telling my mom about it. It's not something I would want to do. Um, I once had a job where you had to do a security clearance interview, and I was just like 21 and out of college, and the boss came and says, "Okay, they're going to come up to you and they're going to say, hey, have you ever done anything you wouldn't want your mother to find out about?" The answer to that is yes, and so have you. Just leave it at that.
right.
So this would be this would be one of them probably. Uh, are you going to take this to conventions and sign it, or are you just going to do the mail order only thing?
I think I'm sticking with the mail order. I don't really have any plans to go any to a convention soon.
Well, nobody's going to any conventions anytime soon. It appears they're all shutting down. Um,
Right.
let's roll back just a little bit here, because before you even thought about doing comics, maybe I'm assuming not before you start about doing this one at least, you were running a YouTube channel. I personally found you and subscribed you when you did the whole pre-TikTok thing with Mark Wade, Mark Zaid.
Oh yeah, people love that.
That did that. I'm sure that shot your subscriptions up. Um, how long had you been doing a channel before that? I mean, you're usually an anime manga channel from what I can see.
Yeah. I started off with the anime stuff mostly, just like reviews and reactions, and started branching out to other videos of stuff that interest me, and then started heading towards the comics realm, and now I kind of do a little bit of a bunch of things.
So when of course the Mark Wade Mark Zaid thing came out, were you into mainstream comics, or were you still sort of just a manga anime person who heard the news and thought it was absurd and ridiculous?
I was getting into the comics part of YouTube around that time, so.
All right, and what made you think that this comics business was something you wanted to get into, as far as the crowdfunding went? I mean, did you always want to do a comic book and this provided a way, or did you say, hey, they're all doing it, I think I could pull this off?
Well, I think most people in comic books wanted to get into animation first and then went to the comic. And that's kind of how I am. I was into animation for a long time, strictly 2D animation, but we're not seeing too much of that anymore. So I ended up falling back on comic books and making up my own. And yeah, so here I am now.
It's funny. It's almost like comic books is never anybody's first love. Uh, back in the golden age, it was, people were making money at it, but people were going into comic books so they could get jobs in advertising, and saying, look, I can draw, I can do these things, I've been published. And then for a while, people were going into advertising hoping to get jobs in comic books, but it's a fickle industry. No one, it always seems like somebody's coming from one place to get to the other, and no one just says, this is what I want to do and go straight to it. So, maybe this will be a leap forward for you to go into animation at some point. We could get, we could watch, we could watch the animated adventures of Orgasm Girl, and it could go on HBO Max.
Yeah, no one knows what the future holds.
So, and a sensibility question then. Since you're coming from animation and you have a predilection for manga and anime in that style, why not? Why is Orgasm Girl not presented more in that manga-esque vision?
Oh, well, I thought it was kind of anime sort of inspired as far as Sanity's art goes, but I mean, you see, like, it's weird because we changed artists, but I was imagining something like cartoonish but fun, and and then we ended up. I was like kind of looking for a different artist when we were switching off, and eventually I just decided to hire my friend Sanity because I knew that they were a really good artist and people seemed to really like his art. So I figured, yeah, sure, we'll do a comic together.
So what happened the last time around? I mean, you were close, and then there was Fundus Interruptus.
Oh yeah, there was a lot going on during the time of the first campaign. First of all, it took super long just to like get it online, and yeah, it was just a whole train wreck. I'd rather start over, honestly.
Okay,
But
and you said you hired Sanity. So is Sanity partaking in the profits of the funding, or is it a I've paid you, you've given me art, now I'm selling it kind of deal?
no, I'm basically paying them, but you know, if we reach, if we have like an overflow of money, I'll give him a bonus because he's
Oh,
working really hard.
that seems to be working for a lot of people. And the reason I ask is because a lot of people they don't get that when you go into crowdfunding, especially as the writer, if you're not the artist doesn't really want to risk sharing your vision. They want to get paid for art and then get paid for more art and get paid for somebody else's art and continue doing that. So when you crowdfund something like this, um, you're already in the hole a certain amount of money just so that you can have art to show for the project. Uh, is the 100% goal line that we have set for Orgasm Girl enough to make it a profitable venture, or is it more of a we've lowered expectations in the hopes that we exceed by a certain percentage?
No, I mean, the initial goal of 5,000 would probably not be enough. 5,000 is just assuming that I put forward some of my own money to help it get funded. Ideally, you know, I'd like to get the same amount of people backing it as the last time and possibly more. And that would put us at a more comfortable goal to get it all paid for.
All right. Well, I would like to look at that Indiegogo screen again, but as sure as I do, my computer will give me the B-sod because I'm working a PC and not a Mac, and it's 6 years old, so it's getting Medicare. But again, I will state for those watching, we are $120 away from hitting that 100% goal. There is a $40 tier where you can get the signed book as well as a pinup poster, and I believe you get the PDF with that as well. They're stacking tiers, right? You get down,
Oh yeah,
you get everything above it. All
they
right,
stack,
so
yeah.
yeah, so for $40, you get all of that. We don't need 3 of you people to get in there. Really, we only need 1 of you guys to take 3 times the $40 one. You can do that. That's nothing going to stop you. We would definitely appreciate it. But 3 people hit that $40 mark, and this thing's funded. Orgasm Girl will become a reality, and you will get her in your hot little hands. Depending on how voracious or vicious a reader you are, you might want 3 copies to keep one in pristine condition somewhere. Okay, so since I broke that line, how explicit does this story kind of get? I mean, I'm going to assume it's not it's not hentai, obviously.
No. It can be pretty tame compared to other things that I've seen and even reviewed at times.
Yeah, because we know what's happening to the guys that she's fighting, but there's not necessarily the attendant nudity that comes along with these sorts of expressions.
Right.
Okay, it's a touchy subject, and I'll be honest. I'm an old guy interviewing a young girl. We're talking about Orgasm Girl on an internet stream. I'm like, watch every step you make, man.
Yeah, no one take this out of context.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to be canceled tomorrow by anybody. Not that I've got anything to be canceled from, but The story itself, 22 pages. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's probably not a full story arc, but rather an introductory one.
Yeah, it's kind of like a prologue.
Okay, so do you have a larger arc in mind? Do you know how many issues it takes to make that happen?
I have a vague arc in mind, but not something solid or written down quite yet.
I want to work on that. Because after tonight, you're going to be funded and people are going to want the next one. So I don't know if you've been approached on this or not, but I'm seeing it a lot with other crowdfunding. You'll see covers with multiple characters on it that are owned by multiple crowdfunders that they don't have anything to do with each other because there's not this publishing house that's over everything saying that we have a shared universe. It's just shared characters. Has O-Girl shown up with anyone else in any of their books? Has anyone approached you saying, hey, can we put her on here? Can we put her on there? We put our character on you?
No, not specifically. Although I think this one time an artist came to me and said that they put me in the background of one of their comics, which was kind of fun.
That is cool. Yeah, I kind of remember that. You showed up as a character. All the crowdfunders, the CGers and the not CGers, just were all there showing up. Yes, the Canuck. I am a bad man. I know this. Thank you for making that plain for me to see. What are the tiers? I noticed one thing. I did notice that a lot of your tiers they're gone, and that's fairly rapid response for having them respond that way. Did you intend to make them as limited? Original art is original art. There's only one, but the others, like were just sketch covers. Did you intend to limit them to that low amount?
Yeah, well, I figure I don't want to put too much work on myself, and
I like that.
And I figured that a lot of people would want them and they would jump on them fairly quickly. But it's good. It's good making a little bit of extra money for a little bit of extra effort.
Extra money's good. Have you thought about adding any other stretch goals to it now that funding is going to make it? If you say, okay, well, if we get to a certain point, we'll throw in something like trading cards.
Yeah, I was going to actually throw in some like spoof Valentine's Day cards with some of the characters if we reach like a 6,000 stretch goal.
I like it. Yeah. Or like just more posters like no, not even. Sorry, I've already crossed the line with my tweet earlier today. I don't want to say, Orgasm Girl the movie coming near you. That would just be bad. I will not say it. So, do you have plans for other books?
Oh yeah, hopefully.
Not necessarily O-Girl, but other books.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always working on a bunch of different projects at once because, once you're inspired for something, you just want to write that, and then you get inspired for something else, and you write that for a few days. So I'm always moving as far as writing goes and projects.
I understand that. Can you share the Indiegogo screen for everybody to see? Share some artwork?
What?
Do you want to share the Indiegogo screen?
Oh, I could put it up on my screen, I guess.
Yeah.
I was mostly just looking at it on my phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. That might be harder to do then. Yeah, never mind.
No, it's okay. I just need to...
Because I'm looking, at my phone, and I'm not sure that it will let you on the phone version.
And
No, leaving. I don't want you to leave.
There we go.
Then again, there it is. All right.
99%.
99%. That's higher than it was earlier, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Folks, this is $32 away from 100%. Thank you, Mrs. Lawson, for third grade math. $32 to $5,000 goal. Somebody pick up that last $40 item and get us out of here while we scroll down and look at some of Sanity's art here. Now, I like this. Now, who does the cover? Because I can tell the cover is a different style.
Oh no, that's Sanity too.
Okay, well, I take it all back then. Because it's not uncommon to get a different cover artist for versus the interiors.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So she's already a boxer at the beginning of the story. She's a fighter, and she's working her way up in the ranks because she has this trick. And I think you've mentioned in the summary that she gets caught. That she gets caught using this trick. Walk us through that. Walk us through without spoiling obviously what the main story is and how things are working. Let us know how we get into this life of Amari.
Well, basically, she ends up getting captured by what is a sex trafficking cult, and they want to use her powers for their own needs, as you can imagine. Sorry, what did you say before?
Boy, did they pick on the wrong girl.
Oh, yeah, right. So she's got to escape from their clutches. Mm.
Do you get into how she discovered her power and or when?
Not specifically.
That's going to leave a lot open to interpretation.
I did have a joke in while I was writing out the second issue. I had a joke about how they discover how she discovers the power, but
Well, it's not like it's something you would discover by accident. Obviously, this is given the chemicals and the biochemistry involved. This will be a post-puberty onset kind of thing, just like most of your Marvel mutants and their powers. But the whole notion of it's like you don't accidentally say Shazam and turn into something. It's just not going to come up in conversation, and you learn this. So it's not. She'd have to figure out trial and error that touch and snap does this thing. So it's like, is she she just shook hands with somebody and she's bopping the music, or does she smack somebody and she starts giving them the snappies while she's talking? Oh, that's a good question too. And probably doesn't even get touched on in the story, but this is just the way my mind pings around ideas, and specifically when they start getting weird like this. What's the repeat factor on this? Like, she smacks a guy real hard and just starts. Is the guy just like, stop?
Yeah, she can stack them.
Okay, this is a stackable power.
As long as, I guess whatever time limit. But I guess she can touch you again.
Well, that's the thing. Does she have to touch you again, or does she just have to keep snapping?
Well, after a certain time limit, the touch would have to wear off. So I guess she would have to do it again to keep snapping.
So it'd be like, smack 60 seconds of snapping, smack 60 seconds of snap. God, this is because I'll tell you, 2 is already more than most guys know. So the fact that that would be incapacitating. It really would be. It would turn into a kind of a torture after a while, and honestly, I'd really like to know how her personality processes having this kind of a power over men, because she knows that she can do it. What drives her to even want to do it, or what drives her not to want to do it all the time?
Right. Well, the idea that I kind of had in mind is she has this power. Naturally, a lot of people who would have this type of power, they see it as this weird thing, but she tries to, for the most part, use it to her advantage. And she's not super proud of doing that either, she finds. Because, she's basically just using it to cheat through life, cheat through fights. And it's not really until this issue that she realizes, oh, I can use this for something actually useful for other people too. It's kind of this goofy thing. Yeah, right.
So, to have this power and not become, I don't know, super prostitute, for lack of a better term, she would have had to had a better upbringing than Clark Kent. To have that kind of a restraint.
It's too much power to be contained.
Yes, with great power comes great irresponsibility. But yeah, I could definitely see that, a villain with this power, and maybe that's why the mistress is after her to get this power for herself, because that sounds like the kind of ring that she's running. And you mentioned, the sex trafficking ring grabs her because obviously they know her ability at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's like powdered rhino horn, and they want to extract her blood and start doing tests, I guess. I don't know where to go from here. I honestly don't. So I'll try to keep it on the book itself. 22 pages. That's your standard floppy. Is this going to be like like your regular paper, or is it going to be more of a stiff cover? Have you worked through logistics of printing yet?
Yeah, I was hoping that it wouldn't be like such flimsy paper they would immediately rip. Obviously, I'm curious if I should go with the original printer that I was planning for the first campaign, because they're out of the country, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll try staying in the country for the printing this time, given current events. Might as well support America, And
plus, it will take forever to get here now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So I'm thinking I'll go with Kablam's floppies, and I think they just have a standard type of floppy for all floppy prints, but I'll have to look into that a little bit further to see if they have more customizable options.
All right. Lugger in the chat says, plot twist, Amari is a futa.
Oh dear.
I am not fluent in the language. So help me out here.
Oh,
or would you rather not, because it's something that's
not a job for me.
Okay.
That's something that you'll have to Google late at night when nobody's around.
Oh, good Lord. I'm not Kurt Eichenwald. Come on. I never let him live that down if I can. But I do know that there are other terms out there for the fan service. And since we were talking about stretch goals, let's throw it out there. Amari waifu pillow.
Well, that certainly sounds interesting. I'm sure some people would be interested in that. Yeah.
I mean, people have done it with their campaigns. They're very clean cut, very nice people like Tim Lim have done waifu pillows. So there's no shame in those. But
I wonder how much this would go for.
It doesn't sound like it's being considered here. So, all right, so the Rule 34 will take care of it. Thank you, Lugger. I do know what Rule 34 is. I'm old enough to have been on the internet that long, at least.
Not a complete lost cause.
Yes, exactly. I was one of the earliest contributors to Urban Dictionary, so. So let's get a refresh on that screen then and see where things are at.
Right, I control this, don't I?
You do.
I almost
control
forgot.
It all, actually. All I do is sit here and run my mouth and.
Oh, we got one more backer, it looks like.
$49.89. It's $11, people. $11. Okay, so that's 3 PDFs. We'll push this over the top, but you don't want the PDF because your computer will crash. Get the paper upgrade. Don't be cheap. If you get a PDF and you run into if you get a PDF and you run into Dannphan, you cannot have her sign the screen and still expect to do the rest of your functions on it. So get the paper copy, which will already be autographed, right?
Yeah, it will.
All the paper copies are already autographed. I'm not usually at a loss for words, but like I said, I sort of thought this one was going to write itself, and it has, and it wrote it exactly where I thought it was going to go.
I'm going to need a party power by my side when the thing hits 5,000.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to be here when it does that, which is why I'm keeping everybody on the line here. And, hey guys, share this video out there. Tell people we're almost there, and they can be the one to push this out. Push this out on your Twitters and your Facebooks and say, we're almost there. Come be the one who does it. So I love that cover now. Obviously, she doesn't have the tattoo.
Yeah. I immediately, when I was thinking of ideas for the cover, all I could think was, I don't know how or why, but I want the logo to be on her boobs.
Okay.
It turned out looking pretty good.
I know exactly what you need, and we're going to steal this idea from Team Peregrine, from Peregrine Wings of the Falcon. They have boob window shirts.
Boob window shirts?
They're boob window shirts. It's like Power Girl, except that it's printed. It's not cut out, but it's got the Peregrine logo, and it's like flesh-colored logo with a cleavage down the middle of it.
I know what you mean.
So it looks like that. This boob window shirts, you can get that logo put on a T-shirt. Just make it a fake scoop neck. I'm sitting here doing all this gyrations at the camera like you can see me. We had the full screen going. But yeah, just print full scoop neck all the way down or whatever, and just have the logo right there. Put it on like a baby doll tee. Go to T Public or whomever and get that as a tier. Get that as an add-on, because that's what the Team Peregrine did. It was an add-on boob window shirt. I'll have to tell Optimus that I stole his idea tonight.
This sounds interesting.
But that is one of the things that you do in crowdfunding, right? I mean, you want to do it. You want to sell a comic book, and you end up selling postcards and prints and posters and T-shirts and waifu pillows and action figures, and the comic book almost kind of gets lost in there.
Yeah, people always want a little something extra. If they're going to be like backing a whole campaign,
Now, I mentioned earlier that her power doesn't necessarily mean that she has to, get naked or anything, but obviously she does show a lot of skin, which we can see right here. There's boobage, and we know that the crowdfunding backers like that. Is that how she normally dresses? I mean, she's.
Yeah, I imagine that she normally likes the the top belly shirt and the short shorts, at least when it's good summer weather.
Because what I think of, and I guess because of the snap involved, it kind of takes away from any danger. But Rogue in the X-Men was always like head to toe covering so that she didn't accidentally brush up against somebody. And activate her power of absorption and stuff. But with Amari, it's no longer a consideration. Now, Amari's an interesting name. What where did you come up with that?
I think it just popped into my head as like a working name for her, and then after a while, it just stuck.
Because it's it sounds like it belongs to a certain ethnicity, and I don't know which one.
It might be Japanese.
Okay, because she doesn't look Japanese to me.
No, she's probably not really Japanese.
But then again, most characters in